with servers crashing all around them, players blue screening left and right, games closing, games lagging, FPS dropping, and frames disappearing. The mods of the Rust console Discord have decided to do one thing that very few games have tried to do and no one has succeeded at. They have decided to blame the community. That's right, all of this is actually your fault. You, the viewer of this video, are to blame for everything going wrong. I know you had nothing to do with the development of this game. I know all you did was purchase this game, but you are the one and only cause of all these issues. And if it was not for you, booting up this game, none of this would be going wrong. And they're sort of right. If none of us had bought the game and no one had ever tried to play the game, there would be no issues. But this is not really how you should be handling community relations. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go into what is going wrong, where the disconnect is, where the community is wrong, where the mods are wrong, and sort of where a lot of this doesn't actually fall on either party. It falls on D11. So let's jump into it. But before we do, just a quick word, not from a sponsor, but from me. A lot of this beginning intro is just theatrics. I'm blowing things out of proportion to make the video seem interesting. Feel free to hit the dislike button if you're upset with that. But a lot of creators, they won't tell you that. They're just going to rile you up and let you go off into the wild like that. I'm not going to do that, right? I'm riling you up. I'm making the intro sound great, but this isn't that big of an issue. If you're feeling your blood pressure get high, if you're feeling like you need to blow off some steam, you can do it in the comments, but honestly, that's probably not going to be that fruitful. I'd recommend just smoking a bowl, drinking a beer, petting your dog, petting your cat, going for a nice long drive, playing some paintball with the boys, whatever it takes, whatever you need to do to relax, go ahead and do that, as long as it's completely legal and no one gets hurt. Anyways, here's what's been going on. Rust was released for the console a couple weeks ago. The beta came out a couple weeks before that, and from the beta, everything looked good. Everybody was having a good time. Everybody said the beta ran sort of pretty flawlessly. There were some people with Xbox Ones complaining that it wasn't running at 120 FPS, but let's be honest, if you've got a 7-year-old console and you're expecting 120 FPS from a game, you're a little insane. Anyways, it went well. So then the console release came, and unfortunately, because of some rollbacks, because of some changes, because of some sort of quick fixes, it feels like an alpha. Servers are crashing, the game's lagging, things are worse than they seemed to be before. And that has a lot of people upset. And honestly, this isn't even the developers or even D11's fault. This is a problem with the industry. Right now, the gaming industry is focused on getting things out and fixing them after they're released. This is what happens with literally almost every big release, whether it's Cyberpunk or Fallout or even Skyrim for the 55th time. You're not that surprised when things go wrong because that's just the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, a lot of people had expectations from the beta and they took those into the main game. And the fact that this is a multiplayer game where you put hours and hours into farming and then you go out to have your 10 minutes of fun and it all gets ruined because of lag doesn't make it any better. The fact that this game takes so long to farm up resources and it's so easy to lose them means that one 5-second lag could cost you 10 hours of work. And that is ridiculous. That is one of the most infuriating things that can happen. And what happens when players get furious or they get upset? They go to Twitter, they go to Discord, some go to Pornhub, that's probably a little bit better for you. Some go to YouTube and they comment on videos like this. You get a lot of hate actually making these videos, even though I'm not a developer of the game or doing anything involved with it, and sometimes I'm right there with you guys, you get a lot of hate for that. But I can only imagine how bad a lot of the people behind this game have it. And mods of the Discord are sort of figures behind the game. Unfortunately, some things there aren't quite as they should be. I think the mods should be paid, but it turns out a lot of these mods, these Discord mods, they're not getting paid. They're completely volunteered, and they're putting in hours and hours of their own free time to help the community and try and give back. And let's be honest, I'm helping the community, I'm giving back, but I'm getting paid in YouTube ads. I'm not getting paid anything crazy. Well, sometimes I do get paid something crazy, let's be honest, but sometimes I don't. I'm not expecting any huge payment or anything like that, but this is my own channel. I'm building it. You guys hit subscribe. You guys do whatever. You interact with me, and I like that. It feels like I'm building my own small community. But members of the Discord, it feels the same way, but their small community is merged with D11. So they're getting this hate on Discord, and it feels like it's coming to them. And what they've decided to do, or a few mods, not everybody, there's a few people in there, instead of disconnecting and walking away, they fought back. And this is where all the problems come in. And this is where people are getting more riled up than ever before. They're going there to report bugs. They're going there to blow off steam. And they're just getting more pumped up, more pent up. Things are getting worse. And I think it's sort of time for everybody to calm down. So they're coming to the Discord. They're complaining. And now the mods in Discord are fighting back. And what are they doing? They're telling people that they need to go out and get a lesson in reading English. They're telling people that they should never expect the console to run smoothly. Instead, they should be buying a PC and upgrading that if they want a good experience. They're telling people that you are just unbelievably stupid if you actually thought this game was not going to lag, if you thought that developers were going to come up with something legitimate. They're saying, go look at Ark. Actually, Ark is worse than Rust. The developers there are horrible. They are bad people and they should be punished, not us. Like, it is ridiculous the amount of shit that's being thrown at the wall here and thrown at players. And that's sort of unacceptable. But I think what it comes down to is they feel like they're being attacked. The mods of this Discord, they're doing something for free. They're giving back to the community. They're putting their time in, just like I am. And they're being attacked because a lot of people see them as the face of the game, when in reality, they're no more legitimately the face of the game than I am. And let's face it, I'm not the face of anything. I don't even show my face. But yeah, they're getting targeted for that. And they're getting a lot of the hate. And it's hard to deal with for a lot of people. You see, every time you go into something that puts you forward, whether it's social media or just going out and presenting, you're putting a bit of yourself out there. And that's what these mods are doing. And they're getting attacked for it. Now, I've been on YouTube for 10 years and my channel's been relatively unsuccessful until recently. So the hate I got was pretty minimal until maybe a year back. And it's slowly grown since then. And there's a lot of people that are going to comment mean things down below. But I've learned, right? I've had time to adapt to it. At first, it was 1 or 2 people a week telling me to go kill myself. Now it's gone up. And maybe I'm getting 1 or 2 of those a day. Every now and then, people are sending me mean messages on Discord. And that's okay. I get it. People are just blowing off steam. And instead of going out and kicking their dog or beating their neighbor or getting into some sort of bar fight, they're just coming and insulting some random person on the internet. I don't take it personally. I take it like this. You found an outlet for your anger that is somewhere other than your real life. That's going to affect you in no way, and it's going to affect me very minimally. So we can sort of sit back and agree that while this isn't probably what you should be doing, it's okay. And feel free to take that as an invitation. I've given up reading comments like a couple days ago. I was completely cool with reading them and answering them, but some people have gone beyond the pale. Anyways, the mods don't understand this. They're new to all this. They're new to all this community activity. They're new to all this fame, and they're new to all this hate. So instead of taking it on the chin or just walking away and letting things sit, they're sort of sitting there in the forefront, and they're trying to defend themselves. They're trying to defend people that they know, developers that they talk to, community managers that they know, and just they're trying to defend these people that they've worked with. And I get it. It's hard not to. It's hard not to step in and say things aren't that bad. It's okay. This is actually on you. You shouldn't be sending all this hate there. But that's not de-escalating the situation. It's just driving things further and further to the edge. And there really isn't any edge after this. There's going to be some sort of community outrage, and maybe Rust gets yanked off the PlayStation Store just like Cyberpunk. Who knows? But that's probably as far as it's going to go, and that's probably as far as it ever should go. But people are getting upset and things are just getting riled up, and it is ridiculous for the mods to come out saying things like, this is your fault, learn to read. If you come in and you say, hey, I'm getting lag, saying, oh, why don't you just expect the devs to push a button? This is sort of ridiculous. How could you do this? It's a little ridiculous to expect that because, well, some of the people are going off the rails and they're saying things that are insane. Just don't respond to them. Okay. And the people who are bringing legitimate arguments, just listen. You don't need to say anything. You can just say, we understand this really sucks. And we're hoping that the mods and the devs and everybody's going to get their stuff together and figure this out because we have faith in them and we think you should have faith in them. I think that would be a good message to put out there rather than telling people to just expect something subpar because they didn't spend enough money on their console. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe an Xbox One is super cheap and we should have never expected anything to run on it at all. But the fact of the matter is we were sold something that was supposed to run on it. So it's a valid criticism to say it doesn't run, right? If I buy gasoline from a gas station for 99 cents and it turns out to be water, I can go into the gas station and say, hey, you sold me water instead of gasoline. And you know what the clerk can't say? They can't say, hey, It was so cheap, you shouldn't have expected it to be gasoline. That would be like going to a Mexican restaurant, ordering Mexican food and getting McDonald's. And when you complain and say, hey, this is obviously a Big Mac, I can see the wrapper, you left it on. They say, well, what did you expect? We were selling it for $2. That's not how business works. You can't tell someone to expect something based on the price that they paid for something. Now, it is fair if you buy a Ford Focus, you can't go into the dealership and complain you didn't get a Ferrari. That is completely fair, but those are not the complaints I'm seeing. The complaints I'm seeing are, hey, I bought a Ford Focus and it won't drive anymore. I can't drive it off the lot. The dealer's not going to say, well, deal with it. You didn't buy a Ferrari. They're going to say, oh, sorry, you've got a problem and we need to make this right. That's how it should be approached. But the problem is the mod team signed up for a nice Discord. They signed up for a community where they could participate with and they can interact with players who are mostly happy. And instead of that, they've gotten a lot of people that are super upset. They're throwing a lot of shade at them and they're trying to fight back because that's what people traditionally do. And a lot of these mods probably haven't been in a situation where they're getting this much hate. I've been lucky, or unlucky enough, that I've gotten some hate for videos I've made. Whether people are calling me a clickbaiting, calling me, completely full of shit, or they're saying that I'm so stupid. They're saying my aim sucks. They're saying I should go kill myself because of this, that, and the other thing. People say that stuff online, and it is ridiculous. It shouldn't be acceptable, but that's how it goes. If you're going to be a part of any online community, if you're going to be a moderator, you've got to expect some of that. But I think they didn't expect things to be this bad. And as a community, people really should shape up and stop doing stuff like this because you're not helping anyone. No dev is going to see any of this and respond to it positively. Like I said in the beginning, I think I said that in this iteration of the video. Like I said, if you're a developer and you're put under the pressure, you're more likely to make mistakes. And I think that's some of these issues that we're seeing with the servers and some of the issues we're seeing in general. The devs are being put under pressure and they're making more mistakes. So I think the end goal, the end solution should be we can still complain, we can still call out things for being wrong, but we can't be taking anything too personally. And I think people on the other side that are at D11 should just be doing the same. And the moderators, they should probably be paid because honestly, if you're spending hours online moderating a Discord that's just blowing up, you probably should be paid. And another thing before I go, one of the things I think that's upsetting people the most is that the Discord right now has a 10-second time or 10-minute timer on it. So the way it works is you say something like, hey, I really think this game should be working better. And then someone says, no, this game's working perfectly. If that someone was a mod, they can say, no, this game's working perfectly. And then right after it say, hey, this game is perfect. I don't know what you're seeing is wrong with it. Blah, 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 blah. It runs perfectly for me. My server runs great. And maybe they're having that experience. But now you've got to wait 10 minutes to respond. So it instantly feels like you lost that conversation through no fault of your own. That's what I'm doing in a way with this video, right? I'm making this video. I'm putting it out there. But it's very hard for D11, any devs or any moderators to respond to it. So you should always take that into consideration when you're making things like that. And sometimes I don't, and sometimes that is extremely reckless of me. But one of the things to remember is I think the mods need to remember that too. If they're trying to get into an argument with someone, if they're trying to point out one particular person, reply to one particular comment, there is that 10-minute timer. And what that 10-minute timer means is no matter what they say, even if it's completely ridiculous, right? Even if you say, hey, I have a completely valid complaint here, they can respond with, you need to go eat a banana because that's going to make you feel good. You can't respond to that for 10 minutes. And then the fact that you respond later, now it just feels like you're dragging up old shit. And it's a bad experience all around to get into any sort of argument with like that, especially when one person isn't on the 10-minute timer and one is. It just makes for an unfair power dynamic that really does drive people off the wall and makes them upset. And there are other rooms they could go into and other places they could have this argument, but it still doesn't quite feel good. And it's not a good experience for the mods, and it's not a good experience for the players. So I think we just need to take some of this to heart. We need to relax a little bit about this because honestly, I can see it is getting to some people and it's completely not their fault. I think that the majority of these issues are sort of the nature of the beast when it comes to game development right now. And while I'm still going to make videos that are critical, I just want people to know that this is not specifically targeted at anyone. And I don't think we should be specifically targeting any one person, any one team, because if you look back, this is not a new phenomenon. What's happening here with Rust has happened with Cyberpunk. It's happened with Call of Duty. It's happened with Fallout. It's happened with this. It's happened with that. We could literally go through every big release for the last 5 years and probably maybe at least 50% of them them this has been the case for. Most of them have righted the ship. Most of them have made good on their promises, and most of them have come through in the end. And I think that's what's going to be happening here. But in the meantime, it's a bit messy.